Hi everyone, Robert Kajiwara here. We have some big news today. A written document has been found that proves that the United States and the government of Japan made a secret deal that would allow for the storage of nuclear weapons in Okinawa without the knowledge or consent of the Okinawan people, and that if the governments were asked about it, that they would deny it. This story was reported just yesterday by Kyodo News, the Mainichi Shimbun, and the South China Morning Post. So basically what happened is Professor Masaki Gabe from the University of Ryukyu's traveled to California to the Nixon Presidential Library, where he found a memo from the Nixon administration that confirmed the existence of this secret agreement. Now, this is not exactly new information because this secret agreement, we kind of already knew about it through the oral testimony of the former Prime Minister of Japan's translator. Prime Minister Eisaku Sato was Prime Minister of Japan at the time when the United States gave Okinawa back to Japan in 1972. Prime Minister Eisaku Sato. His translator and a special envoy, Wakaizumi Kei, provided an oral testimony in 1994 that basically talked about this secret agreement. Later in 2013, our friend Dr. Steve Rabson, professor emeritus from Brown University, wrote an article about this subject in the Asia Pacific Journal. It's titled "Okinawa's Henoko was a storage location for nuclear weapons, published accounts." So you can see this is not exactly new information because we already knew about these things before. However, this is the first time that a written document has been found that proves the existence of this. Especially it's a written document from the Nixon administration, from the U.S. government. So this is actually huge news. This really shows that neither the United States nor Japan had any respect at all for the Okinawan people. To store nuclear weapons in Okinawa without the knowledge or consent of the Okinawan people, and then to say that they're going to lie about it if they are asked about it, if they're ever asked about it, that is extremely disrespectful to Okinawa. So this memo is actually from 1969, just 3 years before 1972, which was the year that the United States gave Okinawa back to Japan. Now, there were several problems with the vote for reversion. The Okinawan people had been brainwashed for generations by the Japan government into thinking that they were no longer capable of being an independent nation, even though Ryukyu had been an independent nation since from the beginning of time all the way up until 1879, when Japan illegally invaded and annexed Ryukyu against the will of the Ryukyu people. Japan has a long history of persecuting Ryukyu leaders, especially Ryukyu independence leaders. After annexation, a lot of the Ryukyu leaders fled into exile into places like China or Hawaii or elsewhere. Then, in 1945, during the Battle of Okinawa, Japanese soldiers purposely murdered many Ryukyuans, especially Ryukyu leaders. So you can see Japan purposely was targeting and trying to wipe out the leaders of Ryukyu. So of course, in 1972, when it came time for the people to vote on, well, what should we do? Should we be independent? Should we be part of the United States, or should we be part of Japan? Without leadership, with generations of leaders killed or sent into exile, I mean, what were the people of Ryukyu supposed to do? So they voted and said, well, it's better to be part of Japan than part of the United States, because at least Japan is closer to Ryukyu physically, and culturally, Japan and Ryukyu are more culturally similar than Ryukyu is to America. So that makes sense, right? But the real problem is being under Japanese control has really been harmful to Ryukyu. I'm not saying that being under American control was any better. I'm not saying that at all, okay? What I'm saying is Ryukyu needs to be independent. It was always independent up until 1879. It needs to be independent to this day. because neither Japan nor the United States cares at all about the Okinawan people. They have shown time and time again that they will flat out disrespect the will of the Okinawan people. I digress. So this document, though, is hard proof that Japan and the United States had this secret agreement without the knowledge or consent of the Ryukyu people, which further means that the Ryukyu people were not able to give informed consent in their vote for reversion to Japan. Had they known about this secret deal, I think a lot of Ryukyuans would not have voted in favor of reversion to Japan. The article goes on to state that the Japan government's policy of ask no questions, get told no lies could prove problematic if Gabe's discovery attracted widespread media attention in Japan. To date, the story has been reported in the Mainichi newspaper and issued by the Kyoto Newswire agency, but there appears to be little follow-up. If this is actively raised by the mass media, then it could send shockwaves through bilateral relations. It may very well have a negative effect on public opinion and perceptions of U.S. defense policy and the U.S.-Japan relations as a whole. So as you can see, this is a big deal, and it should be treated as a big deal. Serious changes need to be made to the status of armed forces agreement between the United States and Japan. If you're in favor of protecting the rights of the Okinawan people, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more of our videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.